always
Unless you're him, he's probably going to be right. But we talked about Space Station Gaming. They're actually going to be our first match of the day. We have Space Station Gaming going up against YoungSung.
Man, and Carpet, this is such an exciting match. You and I talked about this a little bit, but these two teams have been around for a long time. This is basically Jeter versus Averse. Jeter, of course, playing on YoungSung. These two have been in the top 2 teams in North America for like the last whole year. So to see these guys start off the BPL is so cool.
Now, if any of you are just tuning in or you haven't really watched competitive Battlerite up until now, just to kind of keep you up to date of the players to watch for, Averse, probably, I will confidently say the best ranged player in North America.
I'll back you up on that.
He's actually just insane. He doesn't lose. He doesn't mess up. His entire team just doesn't lose. Space Station Gaming is going to be the team to watch. The team to watch lose is kind of the story behind them, right? We know they are just always going to make it through. But before we move any more forward, I want to at least talk about how we do our draft system, right? So there is a draft that we do allow mirror matches because this game it feels like you might not want to, but it actually works out in this game.
Yes.
But essentially, we're going to do a double blind simple draft. So essentially, both teams pick one champion behind curtains, and then at the same time, they'll reveal them. So everybody knows what the first pick is, and then they'll blind pick their second, reveal them together at the same time, and then blind pick their third, reveal them together, right? So without any further ado, let's get into the draft of our first two teams, Space Station Gaming and YoungSung. Older and Ulrich.
YoungSung is leading off with the Older. I'm not too surprised. It's one of Ninja's stronger picks for support, so to see these guys lead with it. The Ulrich, I'm a little bit surprised of. Character saw a lot of nerfs in the last patch, but, you know, Bloom playing for Space Station Gaming, that dude's nuts. And if anybody can pull off the Ulrich, even post-nerfs, it will be him.
And we spoke a little bit about Ulrich and what makes him so strong, but a lot of times he's a champion. You have to have a composition that works well. Ulrich with 2 ranged, not going to work too well. It'll be really difficult to find value, which makes him so strong. But look at that second pick coming in. You know, I'm a big fan of Bako. I'm a Bako main, and we have the Rygon with the Ulrich.
All right, a couple interesting things here. The Rygon plus Ulrich, very good. You and I kind of talked about it. Characters that don't really go well with Ulrich are characters that spam iframes because you can't land your space from the Ulrich onto the iframed character. So Rygon with that one iframe, he goes in. The Ulrich can kind of just back him up, and they can just go. They can just go, play aggressive, and fight. And the Bako Older, a very interesting combo setup. Of course, Bako known for his in-cap. Jeter, a very, very good Bako player. Look out for the in-cap into quicksand combos from those two.
Ulrich Older?
Okay. I've seen a little bit of this. I like this. This is interesting. You mentioned it, Bako. He goes really well with Ulrich. So to see these two paired up, they're going to be playing very aggressively. And, you know, it's kind of a meme within the competitive scene that Older's not a healer. Older can pump out damage. And in this comp, he will be doing just that.
And we can see Taya probably on Averse. It's a pretty safe bet. He is an unbelievable Taya. Pretty much the only player I've seen seriously prove that she can work, but his team really aids it. And what's good about Averse is that he often doesn't need help from a support.
Right.
You can leave him alone. Like, Ulrich can just go in with Rygon. We don't have to worry about it. But I kind of alluded to it a little bit earlier. You guys can go and predict this yourself. I think it's locked for today's predictions, but we actually can show you guys on what everybody thinks. Looks like 71% Space Station Gaming and 29% YoungSung. When we were actually like kind of joke going through this, we just put random numbers in there, and we put 70-30.
Yep, and that's what it is.
Pretty good. Pretty close.
I mean, it makes sense. Of course, people are going to be rallying behind Jeter and the boys. Jeter, a very popular figure within the Battlerite community for good reason. He's a great dude, very nice guy. So 30% of people backing him up, is Space Station Gaming the obvious favorite in this one.
Now, real quick, before we move forward, I didn't really speak to the format of the kind of games we're going to be going through. So it is going to be a best of 1 with a win score of 5. And it's a round robin, so they're going to be playing lots of games. Today, we'll see 8 games in North America. Every single victory a team gets is going to give them 3 points towards their team, and that's how you try and pull yourself ahead in the group stage. So it's only a single draft between these two teams and a single map chosen between these two teams every time they match up against whoever they're playing against. So it makes each thing a little bit more intense because I think previously a lot of tournaments let them do a couple drafts. It's a best of 3. So a little bit more intensity and a little bit more intentionality has to go into these picks now.
Yeah, you really can't slip up. If you end up picking characters on a map that's unfavorable, you might just auto lose in a very rare circumstance. But so teams have to be very, very careful about that.
All right, but without any more waiting, let's just get right into it. Our first game of the Battlerite Pro League. Ladies and gentlemen, Space Station Gaming against YoungSung. I'm surprised we're actually kicking it off with something so intense.
This is such a banger. This is going to be a great match. I'm so excited to be here, Carpet.
Do you have any predictions on what you think is going to turn out here?
I'm a man of the people. The people say Space Station Gaming. I think that's going to be the outcome. I think these guys are going to take it. I've been watching their scrims. Averse, Proster, and Bloom have been playing absolutely hot, and I really like this comp they're bringing to the table.
All right. So now they have about a minute to pick their Battlerite. So I imagine they'll spend a lot of this time to actually chat through it. I personally haven't seen the double support comp very often. Ninjas and Jeter. Jeter's not even the one that's on Bako.
No, and Rare Peep going to be playing the Bako. He's an incredibly good melee player.
He really is.
And that's a really interesting thing about YoungSung. As a team, they're all very, very versatile. Ninjas, Jeter, and Rare Peep can all play all 3 different roles, and so it kind of makes it hard to draft against them. And we really see it in the way they're playing. Jeter on the older, we expected him to be playing the Bako.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
If you'd never watched Ninjas before,
to
give you a little history on this dude, he is pretty much the only player that made serious, viable, and competitive play for a very, very long time.
Yes, he was the Sirius and still is the Sirius.
Yeah.
When I think of that character, I think of ninjas.
I have accidentally called Sirius ninjas before.
I believe
because it's just, they are synonymous and they are the same for me. So, we are about to get into it. First round of the first map, this best of 1.
Oh man, Carpet.
We're going to kick it off.
Pretty exciting here. We'll see how this goes.
Essentially, who's going to be the first to push in? We're going to see Averse trying to poke with Taya as much as possible. Ulrich has gone in. Bako's going to support. Rygon's taking quite a lot of damage. He might not have his parry right now, and he's blinded. He's just going to back away. Needs the heal from Bloom, but Bloom had to use the space to retreat with him. Yeah,
a little bit of a miscommunication there. The orb is now spawned, and Rare Peep did a great job moving it away. They are going to be able to secure it. YoungSung taking that one, but the HP pools are still very even.
Oh, there it is. Rygon has to speed away. He just barely makes it out of there, but then he accidentally iframes the space from Bloom. You might go down here. No, he gets knocked up, and we're going to see the Ulrichs trying to keep one alive, one trying to kill. In the meantime, Taya up top has to deal with Bako, but Bako's just pinning him down. Taya goes down too. Look at this, YoungSung taking it away in the first round.
Dang, YoungSung bringing it to the table to start this one off. We saw a beautiful punish on Proster to start things off. Proster tried to go in, but there was a miscommunication between him and Bloom. Bloom tried to space in to help him out, but at the same time, Proster disengaged, which kind of left them in a weird place, disjointed. And that's something that's very important for this Ulrich Rygon comp.
Yeah.
They need to stay together, and if they get split like that, that's how the round's going to go.
And the communication at the core is pretty simple. Do you have space? Are you going to use it? He's only got one iframe. He can only accidentally mess it up. And we saw that one thing happen, probably just in a bit of a panic. No one wanted to die, and everyone wanted to help each other out. But now, look at that. Spacestation Gaming trying to engage as soon as possible. Bako finds himself into a parry. Rygon's going in. He needs help from Ulrich, and he finds him. Staying close up, I like that. The AoE shield from Ulrich will really help support Rygon.
This is looking really good here. Spacestation pulling pretty far ahead in terms of HP, and the energy is in their favor too. Rygon just playing so aggressive here, and the orb goes to Spacestation. This round might snowball.
Averse isn't even getting looked at. He was able to take that orb completely alone. YoungSung having to back out. Uldor, he's used his space. He doesn't have much, and they're going to try and find Jeter, but the stone glass will petrify Rygon. Tornado seemed a little unnecessary there with the shield protection from the Petrify. Rare Peep needing to back out. Doesn't want to lose any more max health. Orb will it get taken again. It will. Spacestation Gaming, 2 orbs for them.
Very important orb in the Rygon ultimate coming out now, getting a little bit of damage onto the opposing Ulrich. He gets knocked up in the air, and Ninja's starting to get kind of low here, but we see the power of the double support. But even with the double support, Ninja still goes down.
Not enough to heal, and now Rare Peep just wants to survive a bit longer, but there's no way. He's just going to stand still. He knows it's done for him. The ultimate isn't going to keep anybody alive.
Yeah, he kind of accepts his fate there, and Rare Peep just lets himself fall. A very nice round from Space Station. This is what they need to do. We saw Averse, as you mentioned, in the round get free reign over the map. He was able to run around and dish out damage however he wanted to, and that's what you want to allow your star player to do. Averse is the player you want to enable to play aggressively like that.
And it's a big tactic that we've seen essentially employed by any team that Averse is on.
Yes.
Especially when he's even with Ninjas, right? Like these players played for so long.
They did.
And Ninjas with old player Reap What You Sow would just go in crazy. It was the serious Shifu comp, and Averse just got to hang out.
Yeah.
He just landed M1s because that's one thing he does so well is land M1s. The dude doesn't miss.
Yeah, it's funny that you bring that comp up. They used to play the Shifu Sirius Taya. This Space Station Gaming comp essentially plays the same way.
Yeah.
The Ulrich, the Rygon, they go in, they play aggressive, they get in the enemy's face, and Averse just gets to do whatever he wants.
Yeah, I think there was a small disconnect on a player there, so he'll be reconnecting very shortly. We'll get right back into it. But right now they're tied up in rounds. Space Station Gaming with 1. YoungSung taking the first one, which I think is a really big statement.
Yes.
We mentioned it before that Space Station, previously overconfident, just doesn't lose tournaments. They seriously do not. If I counted how many tournaments they lost, it'd be on one hand.
Maybe 2 hands.
Maybe.
Like maybe.
And we're talking over a year, right? They just don't lose. So the fact that they were able to take the first round, I think, is going to be really big for them, just trying to momentum-wise.
Yeah.
I really want to see how this double support comp really starts to pan out as this series unfolds.
Right. Yeah, there's a couple nice things about it. Of course, Ulrich buffs. He has a buff from his space that amplifies healing that goes onto him or allies. So the older healing, which generally is kind of lacking, is buffed up a little bit. It's kind of nice. It's just a very tanky comp in general. It's cool to see it run.
And I'm always a fan of anything that has a Bako on it, as a filthy Bako main myself. And again, just trying to engage right away. Spacestation Gaming don't want to lose value, but now Rygon's got no parry. He spaces to retreat.
Oh man, look at Ninjas. He got chunked so hard to start things off. Already down 80 max recovery HP.
All right, Rygon finding himself back in. Parry's going to get hit. Radiant Shield. The Blind's going to find himself on Taya, so he won't find value in the M2.
Oh,
the orb got pushed. That was great by YoungSung.
Ninjas is so smart. He knocked back that orb with his E and displaced it, allowing himself to steal it. Great play from Ninjas.
Nicely done, but now they have to make sure they don't lose too much health for it. Rygon's all in. The ult from Taya is here. Will he find value? Finds a little bit on Ninjas. He's trying to find it onto Bako, who gets the ultimate. There's the
they might get him!
Support.
He's so low! They don't end up killing him off though, and the parry heals him up a little bit. Rare Peep up top is getting so low, but the red team secures the second orb of the round. This is so key. Both teams so close to going down here.
The knockup on Bloom was amazing. It made Proster have to retreat with Spacebar because he had no support. Now we'll see a Verse getting dangerously low. Ninjas and Bako, Rare Peep, everybody is like just one tiny burst away from death aside from two people in this game, and it's two of the supports. Rygon getting dangerously low. Blue team got the orb. That goes to Spacestation.
That's so big here, and Averse is playing aggressive, popping the ultimate, running at the enemies, trying to make room for Proster. Proster getting healed up a little bit, but he's still so low. He's still down to just 29 HP, but they find the kill on Ninjas. Averse playing so well. Playing so aggressively.
Look at this double ultimate right now from YoungSung. If Jeter can get an ult,
oh,
there's a Bako ult!
He's dead!
He takes out Rygon!
Oh man.
Here's another one. He finds Taya. He just wants to go aggressive. Here comes Bako.
He's so low.
Oh, the stun on the Q!
Stun. So close.
Oh, we see Bloom keeping him alive. Look at the sustain. But there's the Stone Glass. No support right now. Bako wanted to go in. The Tornado to stay alive. There's the M2. The Blood Axe to take him down. Averse still low. This orb is massive.
And it does go to the red team. The fourth orb of the round. Third for them. They do have a pretty significant advantage based off that. The end cap going to come out now, and he lands it. Beautiful play there, and they get a good burst of damage onto Averse, but the EXQ from Bloom keeps him alive.
They're separated right now, but Jeter again with another ultimate. Look at how low Averse is getting. He stays alive somehow. Ulrich keeping him alive. He finally goes down. That leaves Ulrich alone, and YoungSung will take the third round.
Man, what a comeback from YoungSung. They were the first to lose a player. Ninjas went down first in the round, but a beautiful Bako ultimate from Rare Peep found the kill onto Proster. These guys are playing hot. Now up 2-1 going into round 4.
And knowing that once you've lost somebody, once that one of your champions or one of your teammates has gone down, that you essentially need to get a kill.
Yes.
You have like a 10-second clock.
Yep.
If we don't get a kill now, they'll start to reset. They'll get back to max health. They're probably going to get the orb because they have too many cooldowns for us. It was amazing for Rare Peep to pop that ultimate, even if it might have felt a bit risky, but he was able to take that out and make it a 2v2 game.
Yeah, things not starting off for him so well this round, though, as they're forced back a little bit. One of the weaknesses of the double support comp, can't really aggress into mid.
Yeah, but they do have quite a bit of poke in comparison to Spacestation Gaming. But poke against Averse, that's going to be a difficult task to beat him out on that.
The fight getting very split here, and Rare Peep is taking the least of the favorable trades, getting burst down so hard, and EX space from Ninjas comes over to help him out, but Blue Team is able to secure the orb.
But they were able to punish Proster just a little bit. Proster lost some health, but look at him getting all the way back up again. Securing that orb, getting the max health. 2 ultimates have been popped. Oh, and he found Taya! That was actually amazing to stop him from getting any value on the ultimate. Proster wants to try and close the gap. Blinded, doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh, that was sick! Averse with that double Q stun, getting 2 of the enemies, and now the X strike coming out, pumping out so much damage. The bubble from Older is there, but Spacestation still gets the orb.
Oh my god, look at this CC on to... Oh, look at that. Ulrich nearly going down on red side. Ninja's getting so low.
Oh, this is getting so dicey here. Hitting that parry stun. Oh, Rare
Peep
finally going to go down. We see him finally go down after that super unfavorable trade to start this round off. They started at a massive disadvantage.
The opening is going to be huge right now because, as you said, Spacestation Gaming rely on closing that gaps and just hunting you down.
Absolutely,
Uldor needs to be super careful. He's one of those champions. If you're ever playing against an Uldor, you call out his spacebar and there will be some punish, right?
You call out the spacebar, you call out the shield, and once he doesn't have either of those things, he's kind of a sitting duck. And the same goes for Rare Peep. Once he uses that space on the Bako and uses his bulwark, it's very likely that we just see him chunk down, and we absolutely saw it there. Proster and Averse punishing him beautifully.
3, 2,
the openings seem to be very important so far in this. 2-2. Remember, a single map. This is a best of 1. They will earn points and get the first win here in the Battlerite Pro League.
Ooh, big punish here on a Rare Peep, forcing him to space somewhat defensively, but things aren't looking too bad for YoungSung as they actually have a minor advantage.
They do, and look at that. We'll see Rygon have to retreat. Ty actually takes a good bit of damage. Rygon has to parry. The incapacitate.
Oh, the orb, it's so close. Blue team able to snag it, though. Even with committing the bubble, Jeter wasn't able to get it.
Ulrich having to back out. He's finding himself against the wall. There's not much you can do. He knocks up one support, so maybe they can punish, but they're so split right now. They're heavy damage dealer. The parry's down, but the punish on a reverse won't find where they wanted it to be.
Ooh, this is looking kind of dicey. The in cap coming out onto Jeter, or Rare Peep, and rather Bloom, and he just gets burst so hard.
Oh, look at Ninjas getting punished right now. Proster is quite low, but I don't think there's enough energy or enough damage right now to punish him immediately. Jeter does have an ultimate, so that means Bako can get a little risky right now.
Ooh, a nice in cap coming out there onto Rare Peep. The advantage is starting to get pretty massive. A stun coming out from the older ultimate, but it's not going to land on anybody, and it's looking like this older might fall here.
It seems to be the split in the flesh. You were talking about that every time we mention that YoungSung gets split up because of how Spacestation Gaming plays. It is just that much more difficult for them to lock any permanent damage down.
Absolutely, Kevin, and we saw it there. These last two rounds have been a beautiful example of why Red Team, YoungSung, needs to stay together. Each of these last two rounds, Rare Peep got a little bit split from his team, and his allies couldn't really help him out. And when you have this double healer, you kind of want to play a very turtley style. You want to stay together, heal up, and make sure your enemies can't get huge damage onto you. And when the Rare Peep, the Bako, the only one without healing for himself, gets caught out, he will take that huge chunk of damage, which he simply can't afford.
And it's tough because Bako's playstyle involves kind of going in and dumping your cooldowns on a single individual, trying to make sure you get punishments once you realize they had nothing to deal with it. But once he does that, he finds himself split up, and he has to go in on somebody. But if his team can't follow suit, if they can't leave Older alone, you're going to see Ulrich try and split his time between the two of them. And already, again, early punishments. YoungSung have already lost a good chunk of max health. They've gone in, though. This is it. Spacestation Gaming dedicating to this. They're leaving center control.
Oh, wow. Yeah, they're playing so aggressively here. A double stone glass from Jeter. A beautiful double petrify. But Averse still steals the orb. Two of his allies are petrified, but he says, no, this is mine.
Yeah, but look what he's done for it. He actually lost a lot of max health for it. The stun onto Ulrich. Ninjas pushing him into the side. Rygon trying to keep the team split up with that R.
Blue team, they're playing very together. Rare Peep trying to get back to his allies, now aggressing a little bit. Things are looking a little bit dicey, but Red Team doing a great job staying together.
And as the orb comes up, this next one could be massive. Red Team secure it. It's going to be tied up in orbs now. The ultimate from Older. He's not going to find any stuns, but they still did force some cooldowns out.
Yeah, a little bit unfortunate, but they are still getting the better of this trade. Proster getting pretty low here, and Red Team YoungSung doing such a great job staying together. Averse is getting no room to do any damage. He's in a beautiful combo! Proster just gets eviscerated.
The moment they realized he had no cooldowns, just seconds after, they take him from 80 health plus to nothing. Now the orb is up. Red Team secure another just to slowly snowball their way into this victory in this round. Ultimate from Older won't find any value on the way out, but definitely on the way back.
Bloom gonna go down here, and man, we were kind of sleeping on these guys a little bit. YoungSung, after going down 2 rounds in the same way, make a significant adjustment, and playing together, they out-trade Spacestation Gaming. Very impressed with how YoungSung is adjusting.
As a Bako player, I feel like you have to look at this situation, and you just have to be so patient.
Yes, yes.
You know that Rygon has to come in. You know that Bloom has to you know these players have no choice but to come in and engage on you. Averse can try and poke his little heart out, but he's not going to be able to do it alone without the help. So once you know that you see Rygon use his space, now you have more tools to your advantage because one of his cooldowns is out first, and you kind of have the rotation on him so long as you can play well. But again, having a support Ulrich is really going to help him out. Already parry and space down. They might try to punish Rygon right now, and they will.
They do. Rare Peep takes a little bit of damage, but as does Proster. Things looking kind of dicey here for both teams. Red Team able to regroup.
They group up. Look at that.
Averse getting ruined. He has to tornado over the wall, but he's still so low he can't commit anymore.
That was a nice placement. And YoungSung get that orb. Proster has no more cooldowns. Again, they're going to regroup YoungSung. I like it. Right now they're prioritizing staying groups, keeping that health as much as possible.
Oh, they find an in-cap. This is a big damage opportunity, and they might burst down Averse. He gets so low. He's now being chased down by Jeter, and Jeter's finally able to get the kill. Beautiful play here. YoungSung playing so perfectly.
They seem to have figured out what it takes to go against this team composition. Who will get this orb? Spacestation needed, but it doesn't matter. They'll actually just lose another player in the meantime.
Jeter's playing so well, Carpet. The ultimate's going to come out here from Proster. He's going to use it a little bit as a mobility tool, but this one is all but over. It's finally going to go down.
YoungSung, a single round I think what we can call a pretty big upset.
This would be absolutely this would be massive. This would be so huge, and they're actually very close to doing it. That round, it looked very calculated. They played very calmly, and based on these last 2 rounds, I think YoungSung might take this.
This couldn't be closer. This is actually unbelievably exciting to watch. Jeter, Rare Peep, and Ninjas seem to have figured out this Space Station gaming composition and how to play against it. They're playing patient. Space Station want to do their oppression. They want to just punish and suffocate, but they're finding difficulty.
Froster playing much more patiently to start this one off, but blue team, they've still taken a pretty big chunk of damage. Red team, it's YoungSung being able to do whatever they want. They have that distance. They're playing that zoning game.
Being much more patient. The space is down for Rygon. Rare Peep did miss his E, and there's the parry as well, so nothing left for Proster. He's away from his team. Red team secured the first orbit.
Burst is so low.
Look at how low he got. The burst from Ulrich and Baco. They were able to punish. Parry down. They're keeping Rygon away.
Oh, he almost gets the Rygon, but Rygon still might go down. Proster's getting so incredibly low. He's one chunk away from dead. He used the parry and gets a shield.
He found the ultimate!
Baco from downtown. Rare Peep able to get the kill. YoungSung's going to do this, Kevin.
They are actually going to get this. Taya goes down. There's reverse. And Bloom knows that they're done.
Dude, what a way to start the BPL. An absolutely massive upset from the boys in red. Jeter and the boys coming into this one swinging, and they're going to take the game.
Trading back and forth for the first 4 or 5 rounds, but YoungSung figured out their opponents. They dissected their playstyle, and with a double support nonetheless. We joked about it so much in competitive battle. We've joked about, you can probably pull a double support. I always call Uldur a DPS player because he's such a strong damage dealer, but they proved it here. Look at that, the damage from Jeter. He was the highest damage on his team average.
Jeter on average out damaging Rare Peep on the Baco. It really shows how good Uldur is, and Jeter absolutely popping off, flexing, showing that he can play more than one role. YoungSung, they're dropping my jaw here.
He out damaged Proster on average as well. Proster had just a little bit less
Jeter,
playing as a Rygon.
What's up, Jeter? How's it going?
Unbelievable. The plays from this team were so fun to watch. And again, if you've never really watched competitive Battlerite, you can see how volatile it is. Round by round, everyone trying to figure out exactly what it takes, and it's tiny little changes. All it took was patience from Baco. A little bit more patience. And it doesn't feel great because his kit really helps him engage. That is what he is. He literally is a big leap with high damage and a big push into a wall with more damage to follow.
Yep, and we saw it. You talked about those little adjustments. We saw YoungSung staying together a little bit more in those later rounds, and it was just a dominant victory from that point.
And we mentioned that they were able to stay grouped. So YoungSung, at any given point, they'd probably either communicate or all realize we need to get grouped up, and we saw heavy burst damage. In one of those rounds, we actually saw YoungSung just absolutely obliterate. It was like 2 people back to back.
Yep.
And it was a Proster and then a verse. Taking a look at a quick replay of this, we'll actually get to see it.
Yeah, we see Proster, he spaces in here, uses his only iframe, immediately eats an M1 from Ninjas, and this is where things go wrong. He goes up against the wall, and he's going to eat an E from Baco. Gonna find some damage here. Eventually, here comes the end cap, leads into it, and then the burst damage is absolutely massive. Proster just gets eaten alive here. Beautiful punishment from YoungSung. These guys are playing as a team.
It's one of the tough parts of Rygon. Again, I mean, Rygon and Baco, very similar playstyles. They have their one big iframe and a couple of little movements here and there that are burst. Rygon has his M2. Baco has his E, right? That push, something to deal some more damage, a little bit more movement.
Right.
But the moment you do it and everybody calls it out, if your team hasn't actually done enough pressure onto the rest of your opponents, you are going to feel some pain. And Rygon did so. The incapacitate from the Baco, letting him wait a couple more seconds until his E came back up, just being patient, WASDing around, trying to dodge some stuff, and then that is when the burst came in. So cool to watch.
Yeah, I could hear Jeter from Florida, the team captain, screaming, punish him, punish him. He has nothing. You could just hear it from across the country because the punish window is so big on that character, and they did a great job capitalizing on it.
Well, I hope you guys enjoyed it. The very first match of the Battlerite Pro League, YoungSung, and quite an upset, will take down the team we all expected to win. You even saw the predictions going in. It was 70-30.
Yeah, it's 71-29 even.
Yeah, even a little bit more than what I just said. I shouldn't even round it. You're right. I should be a little bit more specific. But we're actually going to a really, really quick break. We'll be right back. Remember, we have 7 more matches for you guys, so please don't go anywhere.